Welcome to the Explainer. All right, today we are jumping right in to tackle the why behind Python, one of the most dominant programming languages on the planet.
I mean, think about it. In a world jam-packed with programming languages, C++, Java, you name it, why Python? What is it that makes millions of developers, huge companies, and even scientists all gravitate to this one language? Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down.
So here's our game plan. We'll kick things off with the big why Python question. Then we'll dig into quality and productivity, uncover its practical superpowers, and figure out if it's just a scripting language. After that, we'll hit the all-important speed question and wrap up by looking at who's actually using it out there in the real world.
Okay, so let's get right to the core of it. When you really strip everything else away, the reason for Python's success boils down to just two massive factors that were baked into its DNA from the very beginning. And those two pillars are software quality and developer productivity. Now, I know these might sound like corporate buzzwords, but trust me, they are the absolute bedrock of Python's design. They are the real reason people flock to it. So let's actually unpack what these mean. All right, first up, software quality. The best way to think about this is that Python was literally designed to be easy to read. You know how you can look at some code and it's just a mess? Python actively fights against that. The code is clean, it's uniform, which means you can look at a project you've never seen before and pretty quickly get what's going on. This whole focus on readability and reuse is a game changer for maintaining projects long term. And because of that design, you'll hear developers say something really interesting. They'll say that Python just seems to fit your brain. Things work the way you'd expect them to. It all flows from a small set of core ideas, so you're not constantly fighting the syntax. You're just, solving the actual problem you set out to solve.
And that leads us perfectly into the second pillar, developer productivity. And wow, this chart really tells the story, doesn't it? If you've ever used something like C++ or Java, you know about the whole compile and link dance you have to do. With Python, nope, it just runs immediately. And look at the code size. We're talking 1/3, sometimes even 1/5 the amount of code. That's a huge deal. It means less to type, way less to read, and a whole lot less to debug.
Okay, so we've got the core philosophy down. But on top of that, Python has what I like to call its practical superpowers. A toolkit of 3 key things that make it unbelievably versatile out in the wild. First up is portability. This is huge. You write your code once, and it just works. On Windows, on a Mac, on Linux, doesn't matter. Second, the libraries. Oh my gosh, the libraries. It's like having a giant box of pre-built Legos for pretty much anything you can imagine. And third, component integration. Python is like the ultimate universal adapter. It can act as the glue that connects totally different systems, even ones written in C++ or Java. Now, because it's so good at being this glue, a common question pops up. A bit of a misconception, really. People ask, so what is Python? Is it a real programming language, or is it just for, little scripts? Yeah, let's just clear this up right now. That term, scripting language, gets used all the time, and it's important we're on the same page about what it means before we talk about Python. So, when people say scripting language, what they usually mean is a language that acts as a control layer, that glue we talked about for connecting other software components or just automating simple tasks. And here's the key takeaway. Yes, Python is fantastic for scripting. It excels at it. But that is just one of the things it does. The bottom line is, Python is a full-blown, general-purpose programming language. You can build massive, complex, standalone applications with it, from scratch. But okay, let's be real. No language is perfect for everything. To give you the full picture, we have to talk about the one trade-off, the one thing people always bring up as a potential downside to Python. And it's all about speed. The simple fact is, Python code can run slower than something like C or C++. And there's a technical reason for that. It's an interpreted language, which means there's an extra step at runtime compared to compiled languages that talk more directly to the computer's processor. It's a fundamental trade-off. But, and this is a really important but, for a ton of modern applications, what's more important? The absolute, raw execution speed of the code, or the speed at which you can develop, test, and launch your product? More often than not, developer time is the most valuable resource you have. Getting to market faster is the real win. So, okay, that's the theory. But what does this look like in the real world? I mean, the ultimate proof is in the pudding, right? Who is actually betting their business on this language to solve really hard problems? While the list of users is pretty mind-blowing, we're not talking about small startups here. We're talking about the biggest names on the planet. Google uses it all over their search system. A huge chunk of YouTube is built with Python. You've got Pixar and Industrial Light and Magic using it for their movie magic, NASA and JPL for space exploration, JP Morgan Chase for finance. I mean, the list just goes on and on.
So that brings us to the end, and I want to leave you with a question. Now that you know the why, you know about its focus on quality, its massive boost to productivity, and its incredible versatility, what problem could you go out and solve with a tool this powerful?
Thanks for watching. If you learned something new, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more lessons.